Simple ways to stop doing dumb things with money. Preface. What is the most important thing in financial management? This book tells us that overcoming the influence of emotions and striving to create a customized approach are the most crucial factors in making sound financial decisions. Many of us are involved in managing our finances. Some of us trade stocks, others invest in mutual funds, bonds, gold, or real estate, and some even invest in antiques. In short, we tend to follow whatever seems to be trending. We hope for expert guidance, we seek the perfect investment plan, and we even believe that by watching the market closely, listening to the news, analyzing historical data, and combining it with our personal experiences, we can make the right choices and profit. However, in reality, even when we do all of this, we still fail to make money and may even suffer significant losses. This happens because when we make decisions, we are often influenced by emotions like fear and greed. There is always a gap between what we should do and what we actually do, a gap the author refers to as the behavioral gap. We know that many companies try to quantify the impact of investor behavior on actual investment returns. Extensive research by Morningstar and Dalbar in the U.S. revealed that investors' actual returns on stock funds are much lower than the average return of the funds themselves. In other words, there is a gap between the two, which is the behavioral gap. This means that, with mutual fund investments, if we simply invest in an ordinary stock fund and leave it untouched, we could make more money. Yet, most investors forego this easy money. They continually move money in and out of stock funds, making poor timing decisions, which leads to significant losses. Therefore, the author believes that investing is ultimately a form of decision-making, and this decision-making is influenced by emotions. What makes investments more effective is not the market conditions, but our own choices. The author of this book is Carl Richards, a certified financial planner from Park City, Utah, and the founder of a portfolio design company. He frequently writes for the New York Times and Morningstar Advisor. He is known for using markers to sketch out complex financial concepts on napkins or scraps of paper to explain them to others. Both his insights and this method are refreshing and highly beneficial, with some even considering his approach valuable. This led him to write this book. The book primarily covers two aspects. One is how to overcome the influence of emotions, and the other is how to create a customized financial plan. Part 1. Let's begin by discussing the impact of emotions on financial management. The influence of emotions on human behavior is ever-present and all-encompassing. This is especially true when making financial decisions, where we often fall into emotional traps. What emotions affect us? One emotion is fear and greed. We all know that to make a profit, we need to buy low and sell high, yet we are often swayed by emotions and end up chasing highs and selling lows. We understand logically that this approach is wrong, but every time we make decisions, we repeat the same mistakes. We are so forgetful. We continue this behavior until we eventually face bankruptcy or significant losses. For example, during the sharp decline of the U.S. stock market in 2002, people pulled out their investments in fear. But in 2004, when the market soared, people invested recklessly, even mortgaging their homes to invest in stocks. The author frequently has such conversations with his clients. In 2009, when the stock market plummeted, 3 of the author's clients suffered heavy losses and came to him. Client: "Hey Carl, we think it's time to sell." Author: "Do you mean we should sell a stock just because its value has dropped by 30%? Client: "Well, shouldn't we just watch it keep falling?" Author: "Guys, the loss has already happened. You might want to sell, but is now really the right time to sell?" Client: "We're really scared." Author: "Fear is normal, but letting fear guide your actions isn't a good idea." Client: "But it's so painful. If the stock keeps dropping like this, we'll have nothing by the end of the year." Author: "In fact, the risk when stocks were high was greater than the risk now. But back then, you were happy to hold on, so why sell now?" Client: "So what should we do?" Author: "Do nothing, wait until your mind is clearer, and then reassess whether you need to adjust your investment plan." Such conversations happen often, and even the author himself is not immune to the influence of emotions. The author lives in Park City, where skiing is very popular. So, he bought 4 pairs of skis, each suited for different snow conditions. One time, a friend invited him to go skiing. He went to his garage, looked at the 4 pairs of skis, and found himself indecisive. Even when it was time to choose, he couldn't decide which one to pick. After his friend's repeated urging, the author chose his favorite pair. Light in weight, fast, and perfect for cross-country skiing. This experience was a big wake-up call for the author. He realized that the time, effort, and money he spent collecting those 4 pairs of skis was meant to ensure he had the best tools for every situation. But when it came time to make a decision, those skis made him feel helpless. He decided to get rid of the 3 extra pairs and keep only his favorite. While this pair of skis may not be perfect for all types of snow, it performs well on most slopes, and it excels on the types of slopes he enjoys most. Now, he no longer has to agonize over which pair of skis to bring. He simply takes the one he prefers. Even when he encounters a slope that doesn't suit his skis, he believes that with his experience, adaptability, and a bit of luck, he will manage just fine. See, our emotions influence how we make decisions. Interesting, right? This is very common in the realm of financial management. Many people think that making excellent financial decisions means leaving no room for error, considering every possibility and accounting for every potential risk. They think they need to invest in all markets, continuously adjust predictions for future markets, and strive for perfection to ensure they are always on top and invincible. They believe they must master every detail about financial markets and tighten their belts to save money. Such thoughts actually stem from fear. We instinctively fear the uncertainties of life, the highs and lows it brings. As a result, we make all sorts of plans, hoping to control our future through them. We think, if I do this, nothing bad will happen. If I sell my stocks now, I can avoid the market crash. If I have precise investment goals, my financial security will be assured. If I worry about every possible problem, I'll be prepared when bad news comes. The problem is, the real world is very complex, and we can't predict what will happen. This means most of our plans are useless. Moreover, we often view greed and fear as motivators, but in reality, they are the same thing. Our greed comes from fear. Both emotions influence our actions, causing us to waste our lives and money on things that don't matter. Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen, the founder of the U.S. Holistic Health Movement, believes that economic crises offer an opportunity for spiritual introspection. She argues that our financial decisions often reflect our personal confusion or insecurity. If you feel insecure, you may seek ways to make yourself feel safer, to feel like you're part of the group. This might mean buying the same car or clothes as your neighbors, or spending on expensive vacations like they do. But doing so doesn't alleviate your loneliness. We may, without realizing it, sacrifice our financial security in the pursuit of emotional security. This is the first emotion affecting us, fear. The second emotion is overconfidence. None of us can predict the future, and we aren't as smart as we think. Usually, the more overconfident we are, the higher the cost when we make mistakes. Long-term capital management, LTCM, a hedge fund, was managed by very smart individuals, including Nobel laureates. These managers were extremely confident that their investments would never lose more than $35 million in a single day. However, in 1998, they lost $553 million in a single day, and the company ultimately lost $3 billion. Alan Greenspan, who served as the chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve 4 times, was considered by the media and his followers to be someone who could never make mistakes. Yet, the economic model he firmly believed in for nearly 40 years led to the worst market disaster in the U.S. since the Great Depression of the 1930s. He later admitted to the U.S. Congress that when he discovered the economic model he had relied on was flawed, it caused him to collapse. Even these brilliant individuals make the mistake of overconfidence. How much more likely is this for us ordinary people? The third emotion is blind trust in others. We always hope to find some so-called experts who can predict the economic outlook so that we can prepare ourselves in advance. But reality is different. The future is uncertain, and no one knows what will happen. History offers little help in predicting the future. In fact, it's proven that predicting the future is extremely difficult. Even if someone guesses a market change correctly, it's just a matter of chance, not something to take seriously. You need to understand that no one can predict the future. Advice from relatives, friends, or even experts, based on their general experiences or expertise, isn't necessarily right, and it certainly may not be suitable for you. The author himself had a painful experience. In 1999, tech stocks were particularly popular, and many people mortgaged their homes to invest in them. The author's brother-in-law worked for a high-tech company and often told him how much potential the tech industry had and how much the stocks of these companies would rise. Initially, the author resisted the urge to invest, but after constant persuasion from friends and family, he gave in and made a large investment in what he thought was a great tech stock. At the time, the stock had risen from $100 to $1,300. But by March 2001, the stock dropped below $25, and the author suffered huge losses. Afterward, the author framed the stock certificate and hung it on his wall as a reminder not to make the same mistake again. He concluded that when even the most rational people and the last ones to give in to temptation enter a market, that market might have reached its peak, and it's time to be cautious. In July 2010, renowned market forecaster Robert Prechter predicted, because a major bull market is about to end, the Dow Jones Industrial Average will drop below 1,000 points in the next 5 to 6 years. In early 2011, Yale's Robert Shiller predicted that the S&P 500 would rise from 1,280 points to 1,430 points in the next 10 years, averaging a 1.3% annual increase. In January 2011, experienced market observer Laszlo Berényi predicted that the S&P index would close at 2,854 points on September 4, 2013. These three market forecasters made three completely different, extreme predictions in mainstream media at nearly the same time. As investors, whom should we believe? What should we do? The author tells us that we should ignore them. Looking at these emotional traps, haven't we all been there? The fear, overconfidence, and blind trust in others that cloud our judgment lead to the behavioral gap, causing unnecessary losses. Therefore, avoiding the influence of emotions is a crucial factor in making sound investment decisions. Part 2. This part explains how to customize financial decisions that suit our needs. First, it emphasizes making finances simple and avoiding emotional interference. We must not forget why we care about financial security. We want happiness and to provide a good life for those we love. Almost all financial decisions are life choices. Your financial goals could be retirement, going to college, educating your children, traveling, and so on. Therefore, we should not waste time looking for the perfect financial product, but rather think about what is truly important to us and adjust how we use our funds accordingly. For example, in the winter of 2011, a financial expert who had been paying attention to the financial markets for over 30 years was having a drink with his friend, Gritty, a veteran in electronics work, at a bar. The television in the bar was broadcasting a program about oil prices. A government spokesman was talking about the rising oil prices due to the turmoil in Libya. Gritty said to the expert, "That guy is an idiot. Libya? Hell, we import very little oil from Libya, so there must be another reason." After thinking about it, the expert agreed with Gritty. Although Libya is a net exporter of crude oil, its reserves rank 17th globally, and it has no direct trade relations with the U.S. Therefore, it seems somewhat overly worried for investors to be concerned about Libya halting oil exports. However, such small pieces of information could trigger major events, fueled by greed or fear. Things that can lead us into a bigger financial crisis in an instant. Our plans can never cover all possibilities, and that's okay. You don't need to choose the perfect investment plan, save the most money, or guess the return rate accurately. You don't have to spend all your time sitting in front of the TV watching stock market analysis. or searching for stock-picking secrets online. You don't need a perfect plan that accounts for all possibilities. Your financial decisions should align with your life and worldviews. The more you understand yourself, the higher the probability of your investment success, meaning your investments will be more aligned with your true life goals. Carefully making choices based on your circumstances is the best way to achieve your goals. Always remember, plans are no match for change, as we can't predict the future. Therefore, once we have made a long-term plan, we should focus on what we can do in the short term, such as over the next 3 years, which helps us focus on what is currently happening. Living in the present allows us to stay alert to what is actually happening and take action based on what we perceive. Action that aligns with practical financial plans generally yields better returns. We need to continuously plan the process, not the plan itself, so that we keep moving toward our goals and avoid behavioral pitfalls. One unchanging investment rule is that if potential returns are high, the risks are high as well. Therefore, blindly chasing high returns is not good for your assets. Even if you make smart decisions, you cannot control the outcome. We often complain, but it does no good. We also do things that aren't truly cost-effective just to save money. So, be careful in your decision-making. Don't focus solely on money, but also consider your understanding of ethics, wisdom, and common sense. You are responsible for your actions, but you still cannot control the outcome. This is the first method for avoiding emotional factors. Find what you want and make careful decisions based on the situation, rather than blindly pursuing high profits. The second method is not to blindly trust others and avoid falling into the trap of vague financial advice. You must understand that personal finance is a personal matter, with the focus on the individual, not the finance itself. Therefore, financial planning is best when customized. There is no best investment method. Everyone's situation is different, so the chosen investment strategies will vary. For example, some people might want to find a hot stock but haven't purchased life or disability insurance yet. Others might want to find the highest interest savings account but have a credit card with an 18% interest rate. This is strange. Why not use your savings to pay down the credit card bill first? That's like earning an 18% return. Treating work as a tool for earning money and investments as a tool for protecting your wealth might help. Always remember that your control over market changes is zero, but you have some control over what you do. Therefore, focus on your personal financial issues and stop worrying about global economic changes. There are real things you can do to improve your financial situation. Work hard, find ways to save money, or earn more. The author has a friend who has suffered from depression since his 20s. He later mortgaged his house to see a psychologist. 5 years later, feeling sufficiently recovered, he quit a job he thought had no future and began writing. Now, his books have sold over 500,000 copies, and he has published countless articles. He says seeing the psychologist was his most successful financial investment in life. How you integrate the information and ideas you gather with your own reality is the most important thing to think about. The financial advice that works for you might be disastrous for your neighbor. Therefore, don't follow general advice from others, including professional advisors and financial planners, and certainly don't trust market predictions. You need to consider your own situation and, based on your own experiences, choose the investment methods that work for you. After discussing not blindly trusting others, let's talk about the last point. Don't be overconfident or follow inertia. Make dynamic adjustments based on actual changes. We can design an investment plan based on our understanding of the current financial market trends and the goals we hope to achieve in the next few years. If circumstances change, we can adjust accordingly. If we need to listen to others' opinions, we can turn to those who know us and whom we trust, not some stranger on a TV program. Don't try to find the next Apple company because the odds of picking the next Apple or Google are nearly zero. Choosing stocks based on past growth to predict future growth is like trying to predict the outcome of a coin toss based on the last flip. It makes no sense. Find your focus because our time and energy are limited, and we must use them wisely. A simple principle to follow is to focus your attention on what's truly important to you and what you can influence. You should have a basic understanding of any upcoming investments. Don't blindly follow others or make decisions based solely on limited experience. What we need is to plan our financial future, find balance, and not just chase the highest investment returns. The process of seeking balance varies from person to person. For example, an older female client called the author one day, feeling very uneasy about the situation in Lebanon, wondering if it would affect her investments. The author told her two facts. First, the situation in Lebanon won't have a big impact on your life. Second, no matter what you do, you can't influence the situation in Lebanon. This kind of situation happens all the time in real life. People often worry about things they have no control over. Therefore, focus on what's important to you and what can be influenced by your actions, and forget about the rest. We need to carefully review our investment portfolio from time to time to ensure it aligns with our goals. Inertia and familiarity often cause us to forget the risks. Investment decisions should be based on what we know, not by gut feeling. While we can't eliminate all emotional influence when making decisions, we can try to let knowledge occupy a larger space in our financial decisions. Investment, like life, forces us to make decisions in the fog of uncertainty. We can never be perfectly right or wrong. We need to make decisions based on the information at hand, observe the results, incorporate new information, adjust the path, and repeat the process. This is the third method we mentioned. Don't be overconfident or follow inertia, but make dynamic adjustments based on actual changes. Conclusion. This is the essence of what the book teaches us. Let's recap. The author believes that emotional factors often influence investment decisions, and that what makes investments more effective is not market conditions, but our own choices. To overcome emotional influence, first, we need to identify what we truly want and then make careful decisions based on the actual situation, rather than blindly pursuing high profits. Second, do not blindly trust others and avoid falling into the trap of vague financial advice. Third, do not be overconfident or act out of inertia. Instead, make dynamic adjustments based on real changes. In conclusion, slow and steady investment, striving to make decisions that are customized to our needs, is the most important factor in making correct financial decisions.